Well, a very warm welcome to you guys. Hi, it's Kasim. I hope you're okay. I hope you're doing well. I hope this week has been treating you well. I hope that you've been keeping yourself healthy, that you've been positive, that you're working on yourself, that you're still envisioning and casting forward your dreams. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about this. I saw this question on the student room, and I wanted to kind of give my opinions on it, give my thoughts on it, and maybe perhaps if you are going through a similar situation and you are at university, maybe you're at college, maybe you're at school, and you are going through a difficult time, this might be able to add some value to you in some way. So the question essentially was entitled, How to Handle Stress at Uni. This person said, I'm struggling to handle stress at uni due to my high stress and content heavy course. Any tips on lifestyle? So I want to begin by going through some of the notes that I wrote down as I was reflecting on this question for myself. And the first thing that I would say to you is that you want to be proud that you even made it to uni. You want to be proud of the fact that you did well, that you put in the hard work, that you have been one of the few people who have actually managed to get to the be alive, right? And I know this may sound like a very sort of dry thing to say and it's kind of a bit depressing, but I always find myself in situations like this. Whenever things get hard, whenever things are difficult, whenever I'm doubting myself, I always have to remind myself, hold on a minute, Cass, you were born in Uganda, you've managed to make it to the UK, you're a black person, you could get educated, you can follow your dreams, you can better your life. The chances of people actually doing that, the odds of actually making it through that and being where you are today and being sat here talking to somebody about this video, the chances of that actually happening are so rare that it is remarkable. And I would say to you, if you are in this situation where you are at university and you find yourself very overstressed and you've got a lot of anxiety and you feel like you've got a lot of burden and there is this kind of shadow following you even though you're trying to pursue your dreams, just remember what you've gone through, just remember how far you've made it, and of the obstacles that have been in your way that you've had to overcome. Those don't necessarily have to be academic. Those can be maybe suicidal thoughts. They could be relational issues that you've had with your parents. They could be financial. They could be maybe even friendship issues. So just remember, if you are still here, if you're listening to me, if you're in this situation, you've done good, mate. You've done all right. You there, of course, there's always room for you to improve. Of course, there's always room to take things to the next level and improve things, but you want to be proud of how far you've come so far. So that's the first thing that I would say to you. The other thing that I would say to you is to pay attention to your emotions, acknowledge the stress. I absolutely love the fact that you've acknowledged and have said that you are feeling stressed out, because this is a really good sign that you're actually paying attention to yourself. There are so many people who forego their spirit, their essence, who they are at the core, their being, for the sake of a goal, for the sake of achieving something. And as we all know, and we've heard this a million times, it's not what we get in life that makes us happy, is who we become. It's about the journey, right? It's about becoming a more loving person. It's about impacting other people, helping other people on our way to healing, on our way to achieving what we want. It's about learning about ourselves. It's about taking care of our environment, taking care of our spirit, taking care of our health. It's one thing to have everything and be unhappy, and it's another thing to have everything and be somebody who is at peace with yourself. Do you know what I mean? And so I absolutely love the fact that you've acknowledged your emotions. And the other thing that I would say to you regarding this is something which is really important for you to recognize, that this is your limit, right? This is your limit at this level of who you are. And so, sometimes whenever we reach our limit, a lot of us think, well, I shouldn't be here, or I should be leveling it up. But in reality, you've reached your limit. I give the example many times to people that, if me and Usain Bolt were to be put in a race and We had the best trainers in the world, and we trained for a year. And we were going to run a race 100 meters. And we've had the best coaches in the world. The likelihood of Usain Bolt beating me is huge. Now, he's not going to beat me because he's a better person than me. He's going to beat me because his capacity is more than mine, right? Like, there are some people who um, want to become business individuals, but those people can set up their own business, or have their own plumbing business, or have their own hairdressing business or barbershop, but they're never going to become a multi-billionaire. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm being pessimistic, or that doesn't mean that that not everything is possible. Everything is possible, but not everything is possible for you, right? And so one of the things that I absolutely love, and I would encourage you to think about, is this your limit? Is this your stress limit, to be more specific? And if it is, then what I would say to you is you need to recalibrate, and you want to rejiggle your life so that you can rebalance. Because clearly, if you've been burning everything at both ends, you've reached your peak. That means now you have to re-leverage your life and retweak everything so that you can lower it, right? Think of it like a bit like this. If you've got a bath and you've put water in it, and you've put more water in it, and you've put more water in it, and it's reached the edge of the top of the bath, at some point you have to rejiggle and open the hole and allow for some water to leave. And that's what you may have to do. You may have to relieve some of the stress. You may have to, if you've been studying 7 days a week, you may have to study 6 days a week, which kind of leads me to one of the other things that I would recommend to you, which is that you've got to have a day off, right? And my recommendation to you is it has to be the same day every single week. And I say this to you because not only is there is something about taking care of ourselves, which increases our self-confidence, which increases our pride in ourselves, which increases our overall mental health, right? And when we start to seclude and have a 1 day a week where we put it to our health, to watching something we love, to eating whatever we want, basically a mental cheat day is what you're having, right? That really does something internally to us as people. It's been my experience. And I use, you're talking to somebody who used to absolutely love working, and I would be putting it on at both ends, and I'd be working 7 days a week, and I'd be working 2 jobs. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's fine, but it doesn't allow room for creativity. It doesn't allow room for growth. I've come to realize, and I've come to conclude that, a bit like when you go to the gym, and you pull the muscle and you apply loads of pressure on the muscle, the growth of the muscle doesn't happen when you're in the gym. It happens on your rest day. I have come to realize that sometimes a really important element of life is reflection. And I've come to realize that a lot of the neural pathways and the neural patterns that begin to join up, and the life lessons and the principles and the keys and the ideas, all come sometimes after we put in loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of work, got some kind of progress or results or some momentum, and then we've stopped and taken a view of where we are. In other words, think of it like this. Imagine you're climbing a mountain, and you get to maybe 3/4 of the way. Sometimes it's not until you stop and you look behind where you've been that you begin to realize, damn, man, I've actually gone really far. Damn, I've actually been walking and hiking for like almost 5 hours. But in reality, it didn't feel like 5 hours. And so what I would share with you is have a day off when you can just stop, you can reflect, you can have fun, you can pause. Now, in me saying that, that doesn't mean you can go the complete extreme way where you get absolutely smashed, absolutely drunk, and then on the next day, which you're supposed to be back on it, you spend 2 or 3 days recovering. I mean, go and have fun, but more moderately, right? Of course, that doesn't mean that you won't have periods in your life where you go for it and you put 100% into it. Of course not, right? But what I would share with you is, on that day off, have things like do your washing, do your dry, going and getting a haircut. Basically, don't neglect yourself is what I'm trying to say to you, right? Do the basic, very basic things like drinking water, doing your meal prep, doing your shopping, changing your bed sheets. And I know this stuff may sound very trite and like, come on, Cass, is like, come on, that's not going to change my life. It isn't going to change your life, but it's going to affect the way that you feel about yourself. And I think that you're going to come back. If you have that, you're going to come back with a vigor, with a drive, with a passion, with a lot of motivation that is going to allow you when you go back into, working again to take it to the next level. The other thing I would ask you to do is to journal about this experience. Write down what you're going through, because you know what? In a year's time, you might be looking back at this, and you may not have realized how trite it is or how much you've overcome. Because as much as you may think that this period in your life is the most stressful, there are going to be periods in your life which are even more stressful than this. And having wrote down in your journal, it will give you a real perspective. And also, as you write down in your journal, and you obviously you're gonna have to go get a journal. You can get one from Tesco's, or you can get one from any local shop. Realistically, like if you go into a town center, you can get WH Smith. You can get a journal there. And as you begin to write these down, what's going to happen is that you're going to start learning about yourself. You're going to start learning about what works and what doesn't work. You're going to start learning about what your boundaries are and actually clarify them, right? You're going to consolidate your life. You're going to take your life and actually start studying yourself. You see, a lot of people in life don't refine their life or reach or recalibrate their life or improve their life until they absolutely have to. And a lot of people have a lot of things that work in their life, but they don't realize that they work deliberately and continue doing them, which will of course bring more momentum, more success, more opportunities in the future. And as you begin to recalibrate your life and you journal and you write all these things down, you're going to actually improve. You're going to be able to systemize a lot of the things that work in your life, and then you're going to be able to remove and cut out the things that don't work very well in your life, if that kind of makes sense. And also, one of the things that you want to have a look at is how does stress represent itself in your life? So when you say you're feeling stress, does it manifest itself physically? Is that emotionally? Is that spiritually? Does it manifest itself emotionally? How is stress manifesting itself in your life? I say this to you because you may be trying to find a solution for your stress through um, a physical intervention, when in reality it could be an emotional relief, and the tactics and the interventions to relieve stress emotionally are slightly a bit different. Let me put it like this. Imagine you're hungry, or you haven't been eating very well, and you are trying to relieve that by taking paracetamol. As much as paracetamol works, it isn't intended to cure hunger. What you have to do is eat, right? You've got to eat food. The intervention, the solution to the problem is a very different solution. And so what I would encourage you to do is to look at how your stress, anxiety, or whatever emotions you're experiencing are manifesting themselves. Give it a score. How do you rate it out of 10? Journal about this period in your life. I think it's really important. Where is it coming from? You may want to write down and consider. How long has it lasted? Is this something that's been ongoing, or is this something that's recently started coming through? Is this something that's being activated by a parent because of pressure, or by a friend, or because of the fact that you just maybe are in the wrong course, or what you're studying, you haven't asked for support because you're trying to overwork everything and redo everything at home because you didn't understand the way the tutor was trying to, or the professor was trying to articulate it in the lesson, or maybe it's the language that the books are using in order to articulate to you. So just begin to like look at this stuff and begin to journal about this stuff and write it down. I think it could be really, really useful. So I don't know whether that is kind of giving you some tips to begin off with. Obviously, this is a very complex idea, and I don't know you personally, but I hope that it's giving you some kind of indication as to where you might want to begin to have a little look to see if you can, look at those lifestyle choices. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye for now.